Hi there, welcome to my weekly messages. I'm Jelaila Star. Today the topic is higher perspective on end of 2012 preparation. And what that means is, what are you doing to prepare for the end of 2012? I know there's a lot of doom and gloom out there and a lot of fear, and it's going to be, famine and pestilence and disease and the four horsemen of the apocalypse and all that, like from Revelations. Well, it's kind of it's an interesting topic, and the reason I decided to talk about it was because I had that radio interview with Carrie Cassie a few weeks ago, and it was the last question that was asked from the callers, and it never got answered because we ran out of time, and I've got lots of emails from people asking me to answer that, so that's why I'm covering it now. But here's the thing, this isn't a straightforward, it's all this way and no other way, because what's happening is that at the end of 2012, when our planet crosses the galactic equator, which we do every 13,000 plus years, it's called the precession of the equinoxes. We go around our galaxy in every 26,000 years, and twice during that time we cross the galactic equator. There is a field of energy coming out of the galactic core. They call it the galactic superwave. It's high. I think it's not photonic or neutrino. It's something more than that. Energy that's coming out, because they've learned that black holes can emit energy as well as suck energy in, and there's a black hole in the center of our galaxy like most other galaxies. So as we crossed the galactic equator, we move through that stream of energy. It's sort of like crossing a stream, like the pioneers going across the streams. And when we do that, we end up going through that energy, and that energy will accelerate like 10,000 times anything that we think or feel. We will manifest it like that because it vibrates at a much higher rate than our current vibrational rate. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed that when I want something, within days I get it. It used to be months, and sometimes even longer than that, but now it's like whatever you think, wham. Positive, negative, you get it back because everything is speeding up. Time is speeding up. We feel like we begin the day, and before you know it, it's 4 o'clock and the day is over. And it's time to fix dinner. It's like, what happened to the day? It's just time has sped up. They used to say we were living 24 hours and 16 hours, but I think it's actually more. I mean, it's even less now. I can't tell you what it is. Probably Greg Braden would know. He's really good at all that stuff. So, back to the question at hand, what to do. Well, I cannot tell you what to do. I can tell you what I was encouraged to do by my guides, by the Nibiruans. And this has been the same for the last 20 years since I've been on this mission. It has not deviated. They said that there is no safe place, only safe DNA, which means you will only draw to you whatever it is you fear. And if you have done your clearing, then your DNA is lighter, your frequency is lighter, and therefore you don't have the fears to draw. So that's what they mean by no safe place, only safe DNA, because DNA is a physical reflection of your emotional state, which is the total collection of your beliefs, and whether they're positive and integrated, or whether they're dysfunctional and fear-based. Not that fear is always bad. It's not always bad. And so what they said was, don't hoard. That is because hoarding is a fear-based thing. And when you start to hoard, guess what? You're going to draw to you a reason to need that hoard. Yeah, think about that one. But what they did say, and this is where people don't quite understand, they said at different times over the last 20 years, they would say, okay, you need to store, not hoard, but store or stock a week's supply of food and water because we see something coming down the pipe that may or may not affect you. And what for example, a tornado. They didn't say the tornado was going to hit me. What they said was be prepared to avoid the after effects, such as broken water mains or down power lines. They said be prepared for like a week's supply until everything starts to get back to normal. They did that a year or so ago when the Joplin tornado hit. I think it was last year, because I remember feeling very strong that I needed to stock. And what happened was that tornado hit 4 hours south of here. It hit Joplin and really did some damage down there, but we were okay. But then other tornadoes did come around our area, but none of them affected us. So they say things as, just to avoid the inconvenience of it happening close by. And so I do. In fact, I'm going to do that this summer as well. I'm going to stock just for a week, and that's it. I don't feel like I'm going to need it, but I do it because they say, well, you never know. People, might make certain decisions, and it might bring it closer to home, and you might have some inconvenience from it. But I do not feel I will get hit. So that's what I do. I stock a week's worth, and that's it. I do not hoard. I do not buy underground bunkers. I do not buy, survival gear. I do not buy all that stuff because I know that if I buy out of fear, I will draw a reason to have that fear. So that's where we stand on preparation for the end of 2012. I'm stocking for a week and that's it. And I'm looking forward to this being an amazing year. I don't see it as being all the negative doom and gloom. Now, let's qualify that. There are going to be separations of Earth at the end of 2012 when we move through that field, and it's going to be separated by levels of consciousness. Overall, you could say there's going to be 2 Earths. I think there's actually going to be 4, but we're not going to get into that. Let's just, for the sake of this, say 2 Earths. There's a version of Earth that's going to remain 3D, and they're going to experience some problems, definitely some problems. They might need to stock more because they are more fear-based. Therefore, they are going to draw more reasons to experience that fear. But for those of you who are moving upwards, who are dumping your emotional baggage, who are clearing out those unnecessary fears, you will not need to hoard or store more than a week's supply because you will not be drawing to you a reason for it. So how do you determine whether or not you are one of those people who is going to move up versus them that way, with the 3D Earth? Well, it depends on how much you're doing your emotional clearing. Here's some good pointers, okay? Number 1, are you all right with your family? As a starseed or a light worker, have you come full circle and re-embraced your Earth family? Have you found a value for every single member? Are you working on every issue that you have with every single member and trying to find peace with each one of them? Then you probably won't have a problem. But if you're still judging and condemning the government, if you're still hating the global elite, if you don't see the value in any of that, then yeah, you better store for more than a week. So there you go. That's the answer. I hope it helps, and I will talk to you when I talk to you. Bye.